Hi, this message is for parents of teenagers or children that are growing up in this generation. As a parent, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I know that it's not easy because our teenagers, our children, are growing up in a generation that is so much different than what we are familiar with, what we are comfortable with. We grew up with rules, regulations. We didn't have all the social media, electronics, and all the information and things that is available to our children today. Our children are exposed to a lot of damaging things. Our children are being exposed to a lot of sexual content, a lot of cussing, a lot of hate, division, drugs, very premature sexual activities between children, and a lot of confusions, a lot of deceiving, and society has confused our children. So for us parents, they grew up with culture, they grew up with manners, they grew up with good standards, they grew up with morals. For our parents, for us, they grew up with parents that really, not just parents, people that really taught us how to be respectful, how to honor one another, how to honor our parents, our teachers, how to behave as a young lady, as a young man. It's really hard. It's like we are aliens to our children and they are alien to us. And two, because the way the economy is, we have to work. We have to work. Like before, moms would stay home mostly and dads would work. So there was a lot of family time when I was growing up. I'm 37. I remember I grew up in Germany. And what I would do, after school, I would go on a walk. I would go play outside with my friends. Even in high school, I would go in the lakes. I would go in the forest. And so we grew up, go biking. And there was a lot of family gaming nights, a lot of puzzles, a lot of activities. And so we never felt bored. And what our kids, they have so many things available to them. But there's a lot of depression. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of hate. There's just so much that our kids are dealing with. There's a lot of that our kids are dealing with. I know when I go pick up my daughter and my nieces and nephew from school, I can see, I'm in that school every day, and I see the teenagers just walking on their cell phones like this, and they look so depressed, they look down, they look confused. There's a lot of bullying. And before, bullying was just in school. Now there's a lot of cyberbullying. And one of my concerns as a parent, like before I grew up, thank God I was not abused by my parents. I had really good parents. But when I needed discipline, I received discipline. It wasn't often because, I didn't give my parents a lot of a hard time. But today, there's so many laws that we parents, we feel like we cannot even discipline in our kids because discipline is different to everybody. And then sometimes, our kids, because they know there's CPS, there's police, when our kids misbehave, they know all they have to do, even if it is a lie, all they have to do is just contact the authorities. And until you can prove that you indeed didn't do nothing to your children, you already had suffered some consequences. So, and what is really going on, there's a lot of, because of the electronics, because of schools now, everything is done online. Every homework, schoolwork, a lot of things is done online. Our kids, they know how to sneak into things. It's like they are more advanced than we are when it comes to electronics, when it comes to the world of the internet and things like that. So our kids know how to do bad things without even us sitting there, we wouldn't even see. So they are really overdoing when it comes to a lot of things. And because of there's so many pedophiles out there, there's a lot of kids there's a lot of pedophiles, there's a lot of nasty adults that know that our kids are growing up more insecure because of YouTube, because of Instagram, because of TikTok. They see those, and then it's all filter. They see those young people looking so good. They always feel like they are the most ugly kids. Kids always feel like they are not good enough now because they compare themselves with what they see on social media. And because of that, those pedophiles are really taking advantage of our kids, of the needs of our kids, of being accepted, of being loved. Yeah. because there's so much going on with online, you know, uh, a lot of people are not aware of what their kids do behind closed doors, you know, because we give our kids tablets, we give them phones they need for school, and we wanted them to feel free, you know, because it's like I think those electronics in many homes became their children babysitters, you know. I'm a very active mom. Since my child was little, whatever I know, I'm very careful with what they watch, the children in my family, and what they do on electronics. And I still have seen things that were inappropriate. And a lot of us parents are so afraid of admitting that our kids have problems. You know, they are getting into things that could get them in trouble. They could get us in trouble. They are getting into things that are not very good for children. And like I knew, I was aware, but a lot of people are not aware. And then there are things that my daughter was doing that I didn't even know until, you know, it was way too far. So we are afraid to share with other parents what we are struggling with in our homes. Meanwhile, the bad friends, those chat room friends that our kids are making friendship with, you know, they're telling our kids a lot of things and our kids are believing, because right now the more active you are, the more you are fighting for our children, the more we are working to raise them with love, with God, with manners, with respect, with dignity, the less they're gonna like what we do. Because the pedophiles, they know what to say to our kids. They know how to groom our kids. They, oh, you know, you're an adult, you're so mature for your age, your mom is just being hard on you, you should just be selfish a little bit and do what makes you happy. No, I never remember being 16 and telling my mom, I'm going to do what makes me happy. You know, times have changed so much. What we think is normal, our kids think we are aliens. What we know is bad, they think is good. So for them, we are the problem. But it's, you know, but it's society. Society is twisting the mind of our kids. That's why there's so much going on with our kids. Suicide rate among teenagers is so high. Little children, 8 years old, 7 years old, are committing suicide. You know, there's a lot of abuse. There's a lot of abuse. There's so much going on, and we are not aware of. And when we are aware of, we are too embarrassed to admit to people that we are going through something. And I say, I want to break silence. I'm one of the moms struggling in this situation. I have to fight pedophiles trying to groom my daughter. Sometimes I have to fight my own child, you know, because I have to say, hey, this is bad. No, this is not bad. This is good. You just don't want to, you know, I want to be free. You want to control me. Society is using the word control in order to make our kids believe that we parents are crazy. We parents don't want to see them happy. We parents don't want them to do what makes them happy. And what makes a teenage happy to today's day is bad things. You know, some will say, oh no, my daughter, my kid is so good. They do what I wanted them to do. But are you sure you know what they're doing behind closed doors when they're on electronics? Are you sure that you know what they're doing when they go to school? Even if you have, I have filters everywhere, and kids still are able this day to get into places that you like. How were you able to open that page? How were you able to pass through this security system? Is because kids are wise today. You know, all they gotta do is go Google and find out how to do certain things that blah, they can get there. And some of those pedophiles online are teaching our kids how to get away with murder. And you gotta be careful when you see your kid is too quiet. A lot of those people are bullies, are cyber bullies, that they put things on your kids' mind to make our kids believe that their life is so bad, their family is so bad. You should commit suicide. You should run away. So we are struggling. And people think parents, we are just robots. We don't have feelings. We don't get depressed. We don't get anxious. We don't get angry. You know, kids today, they just want to say anything. The music is so disgusting. The music's only talk about private parts, drugs, sex, hate. And it's like our kids are lost in this dark world. And as parents, we need to work together with each other, with our kids, to save our kids. We need to fight against those pedophiles. We need to fight against the lies of society that has our kids confused and lost in their own world, their own fantasy. We need help. Yeah, so I really want to create something that is gonna make it easier for us parents to work with our kids, with the teachers, our children teachers that play a big role too, because everything is online. Even before the COVID-19, things were online, and I really would like for things to be done on paper, a lot, because so our kids cannot be as sneaky as they can be, because our kids are really victims. We can be mad at them, and then another thing too, another thing that work against us is the fact that we are afraid of disciplining our kids. We are afraid of disciplining our kids. There's abuse and there's discipline. I don't like to discipline the corporal discipline, but I do believe that sometimes it's necessary. But today people call everything abuse, and I think there's a lot of children being abused at home. There's a lot of children being neglected at home. Sadly, there's a lot of horrible parents. Maybe that's why there's so many laws that make us afraid of disciplining our kids. Our kids feel so sheltered. I, I feel like every time I hear kid talk, I'm bored. I'm bored. What you mean you're bored? Go outside. Go in the backyard. Go climb on the tree. This is what I used to do. Go walk. But see, the sad thing is you cannot even allow your child, even if you live in a good neighborhood, you're afraid of allowing your kid to go play in front of your door because you don't know your next door neighbor. You're afraid to allow your kids to go on the park, to the park by themselves. But we gotta work because the bills are so high now. Everything is so expensive, and there's a lot of single parents. I'm a single mom. There's a lot of people that have to work two, three jobs in order to pay for the bills that are so high. It's crazy. It's like parents, we are expected to have everything, every answer, everything in control. People forget parents, we are also human beings. And if you are a parent like me, I'm so hard on myself. I feel bad for everything. When I yell at my daughter, I feel bad. If sometimes I have to discipline her, which I hate it, which is very rare, but when I do, I feel bad, I feel guilty. There's a lot of guilt in us if you're a parent like me, and then people say, oh, it's because it's your culture. Growing up in a different culture, people want to use against you. And another thing too that really makes a difference, parents, please pay attention. When we have different homes, if we are from divorce or breakups, our kids have to go, their father, their mom, it's two different homes, two different rules, two different culture, whatever it might be. Work together with your ex. Don't make your kid love and one parent more than other. If you are a step parent, respect the mother and the father of your stepchild, because every time, because your insecurities or whatever it might be, that you create problems, it's gonna affect the kids. But a lot of step parents, they want the parent, they don't want the children. But at the same time, they don't want the parent, the ex of their partner to be around, so they create problems to create more hate. And you know what? The child is the one that gets affected by the behavior and the hate and the anger of the parents. We really need to work together, world, United States of America, wherever you might be. We need to work together as one for the well-being of our children. They need us because right now they are victims of the social media. They are victims of electronics. They are victims of pedophiles. They are victims of society and its lies. We need to work together. Share with other parents what you are going through. Don't suffer alone. Some parents are being physically attacked by their children, and they're too afraid to take measure with their hands because they don't want to get in trouble. Some people are dealing with suicidal children, and they are embarrassed because they feel like it's their fault. Some kids, their kids are depressed and failing in school, but we are told to be embarrassed about everything. Stop it. Stop it for a second and talk to your children. Christian parents, we know how hard it is now to raise kids in God's rules and regulations. We need to work together as one. Yes, don't be like me that I felt so bad about disciplining and talking to our children when sometimes you have to call the police, sometimes you have to involve other people and the kids don't like it. Do what you need to do in order to save your children. Don't worry about what people will say about you. Don't worry about what people will think about you. Don't worry about CPS and the cops. Do whatever. Have witnesses. Right now, our phones can record everything. Record everything. Go and talk with your children. Because right now, kids can be very disrespectful sometimes because they think you are against them. You know, right now, kids think we are against them. We are aliens. We don't know what we are doing. But they need us. We need to fight for our children. Or else those pedophiles will always win. Do what you need to do. Go to the court. Go try to change laws. Whatever you need to do, do to change the way that things are going. Talk to the kids. Talk to the supervisor. Whatever you need to do, do it. Because our kids needs to be saved. You know, monitor your kids. Even if they like it, they don't like it, monitor all their activities. Make sure you are fully aware of what they are doing. Oh, privacy, no. When your kid is a minor, they don't need no privacy. If there's something is going on, the privacy is out of the window. Because sometimes we want to give our children so many, we talk about privacy, and then next thing you know, your kid committed suicide. Next thing you know, your kid was kidnapped. Next thing you know, your kid is doing things, that are so bad. Fight for your children. Talk to the teachers. Make people aware of what is going on in your home, so that if something happens, people know. And we need to work together because the government and the CPS, sometimes they try to create rules, and then a lot of parents are so afraid of taking measures because they're afraid of what can happen to them. Don't be afraid. As long you know that whatever you do is the right thing and you do the right thing, there's no reason for you to be afraid. Document everything. Create a file for yourself. But we need to fight for our children. And teenagers, if you got a hold of my video, know when you have a parent that is fighting for you, a parent that is staying up, talking to you, praying with you, going up and down with you, it's because they love you. If you are afraid to do whatever you want to do, this is not love. And if you are dealing with low self-esteem, whatever it might be, you need attention, you are dealing with bullying, talk to your parents. You should not be depressed at your age. But I understand. I don't understand your generation because my generation is way different. But I know one thing, you are loved. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. And remember, your parents